Good afternoon to all. Myself Jitendra Singhal, Associate Professor in the Department of MBA. Today, we will talk the basic procedure of international business, how we will start the international business, how a person or an organization or firm can move in international market or in international business. There are many different ways to enter in international market or in international business. Most primitive stage or most primitive method is through export and import. And the history of export and import is more than 5,000 years old. So first thing, what is an export? Export means it is when a person or a party send their consignment from one country to another country. That is called export. It means transfer of goods and services from one country to another country through port, maybe through shipment or through aerial consignment from one person to another person, another country is called export. The seller of such goods and services are commonly called exporters. So we have two parties involved in export and import process. One, the person who transfer the goods is called the exporter, and the person to whom the goods are transferred, they are called the importers. So export is a basic process from transferring the goods and services from one person to another person, or one party to another party. From one party to another party is called export. And import is a basically when the goods and services are transferred from one country to another country, they are called import. So there are certain factors involved in export and import. Now come to the advantages and disadvantages of export. Before going to start the advantage and disadvantage of export, we will discuss what is balance of trade and balance of payment. Balance of trade is basically a term generally used the value of goods and consignment transfer from one country to another country. It means the difference between the total export and total import is called balance of trade. Normally, if export is more than import, we have favorable balance of trade. And if import is more than export, we generally use the term a negative or an advance. This may be a disadvantage for the country if export is less and import is more. So a trade deficit is a situation where we have less export and more import. Same as in case of Sri Lanka, now we are seeing that in Sri Lankan economy, they import less and export more. Because of that, there is a deficit. There is a trade deficit in their economy where they are exporting less and importing more, which resultant in the devastation of their economy. So a trade deficit will normally occur when import are more than export. So import are basically the main purpose of import is to create productive resources in the economy, or sometimes for the fulfillment of the basic needs of the society. The government or country generally import basic or necessary goods or commodities from other countries. Normally those countries which are not produced in the host country. But there are different types of import. First one is the import for the purpose of industrial and consumer goods, and for the purpose of intermediary goods and services. What are industrial goods? Industrial goods are those goods like heavy machineries, equipment, jigs, fixtures, which are generally used for the purpose of transforming input into output. Normally, we used heavy machines and other assets in industrial and consumer goods. Intermediary goods are basically a part of raw material, or services are basically part of the manufacturing process, generally used to convert input into output. So we have two types of imports. One is for industrial purpose or for consumer goods manufacturing purpose. Another one is for the manufacturing of intermediate goods and services. Physical export is basically when we export the commodities in physical form. Suppose we are exporting machineries, we are exporting medicines, we are exporting food products from India to Southeast Asian countries. It is called physical export. Sometimes we use a term deemed export. Deemed export means when we deliver the goods or consignment to another country like Bangladesh, and from Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi importer deliver or send the consignment to Middle East, then it is called deemed export. It means it is a two-channel process. In first process, we will export the consignment to another country, like for example Bangladesh, and from Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi importer transfer the goods and services to other part of the world. That is called deemed export. Export import process is very common, very simple. To become an exporter or an importer, first we will uh, connect, or we will make certain arrangements where we will set up a we will have to fill up certain formalities, like we will register ourselves through DGFT, Director General Foreign Trade, for 10-digit export import number. It means to become a authentic exporter or importer, we have to register ourselves with Director General Foreign Trade, the apex body in India who regulate the international business or export and import procedure. Then we will decide the negotiate term of sales. Suppose I am an exporter, I got an export import number, the 10-digit specified number from DGFT, and now I am a registered exporter. After getting an approval or license from DGFT, now I am searching importers. Suppose I find out an importer in Middle East or in South Africa. Then we will discuss the negotiation terms or the sale contract. We will form a sale contracts where we will decide all the terms and condition, sales condition with the buyer, with the importer. Now we will understand the export formalities and responsibility towards sale proceed. When we start our business, when we start delivering our consignment from India to South Africa to our importer, we have to understand what are the different formalities of this export proceed. If we are not aware about the export formalities, then it may create some legal issues with us also, with our buyer also. So we have to understand what are the legal formalities, what are the basic guidelines issued by the government, by the DGFT time to time, and we have to follow those formalities strictly, because it is a matter of international trade. Now we are entering in international trade. So we have to understand what are the different formalities we have to furnish. After that, we understand the documentation process. What are the different documents, different forms, formalities are required between exporter and importer. If we are not able to fulfill those documentation formalities properly, then it may cause legal issues either with the buyer or with the seller. So we must be familiar with the Incoterms, the different terms like bill of letter of credit, bill of lading, etc. And we have to develop all the formalities with the exporter importer bank also, different paper formalities, different authentic proofs with the bank of exporter and importer also. After fulfilling all those formalities, the documentation process, we will move further. For export, complete custom formalities and obtain documents. Because custom clearance is must. If we are exporting something or we are importing something, we have to got the customer clearance. So if we are exporting some commodities, some goods from India to South Africa, so we have to fulfill all the custom formalities, and we have to got the basic documents. It means all the documents, all the receipts issued by the Indian Custom Department, because these documents are a proof that what we are exporting to South African buyer. If that buyer, if the customer doesn't have the custom clearance, it is very difficult for them to unload the consignment at their port. The authorities at South Africa will not allow the Indian goods to their port. They will not allow the South African buyer to take those commodities without proper custom clearance. After that, we will submit those documents to the bank of the exporter as well as importer for further process. And after getting the bank clearance, we will proceed further for the custom clearance. And after getting the receipts from the bank, we will get the sale proceed, and further process will start after that. What are the advantages of import? As we know that export is a crucial part of international business, and government will get huge foreign currency, and it is a part of our foreign revenue export procedure. But import procedure also have certain benefits for the country importing certain commodities outside their geographical boundaries. For example, reduce dependence on existing market. In international business, there is always a price war, because we have large number of commodities, similar type of commodities manufacturing by large number of buyers. Market is very competitive in international business. Suppose a particular commodity is available in our home market, but the prices are comparatively very high. If we produce a particular commodity in our local market, in domestic market, prices are comparatively very high. But same commodity is available in Australia at a lesser price. Better to import that commodity from Australia. So sometime government, yeah, permits, or sometimes the importers, they import commodities because of the effect of price, because of the lower price in international market. So sometimes the commodities are available in domestic market at a higher price, because we have limited number of manufacturers in domestic market. But those commodities or related commodities are available in another market, another country at a lesser price, or better quality products at a lesser price. Definitely we will import those commodities with prior permission of the government, if government allows. Sometimes exploit international trade technology. Sometimes we import the goods or machinery or consignment from other country just to know about what type of technology they are using, what type of trade secrets they have. To know about their technology, to know about their trade secrets, we are generally importing commodities from other countries. For example, we are importing few machines, few goods from other country, or intermediary goods. For example, an engine for the car or a bike, or few motors from other country, just to know about their technology, what type of technology they are using. Next, maybe extend sales potential of existing product. Suppose we are importing certain commodities as intermediary goods for the manufacturing of finished product, and that finished product is normally used for export purpose, for a further export purpose. So normally we are importing the goods to produce another finished product, and later on we will export that commodity to other market. For example, Maruti Suzuki, normally we have a collaboration with Suzuki Corporation Japan, and we use the technology, especially in engine, from Suzuki Corporation. So Maruti have a collaboration with Suzuki Corporation. We are using their technology. So we are importing the technology from Japan, but later on we will export the cars to the European market, Maruti Suzuki cars to the European market. So for the purpose of further export, we are importing certain parts, certain machinery, certain equipments, certain technology, just for the purpose of further manufacturing process. Maybe maintain cost competitiveness in our domestic market. Sometimes we import the commodities to maintain a cost competitiveness in our domestic market also. If the prices are higher in domestic market, we will try to import similar type of products for other country. And if supply increases, and if supply is more than demand, definitely price will go down, price reduces. So there may be few advantages of import, but there are certain disadvantages of import also. For example, importation of items from other countries can increase the risk of getting them, which is no more common in the warm weather. For example, we are importing certain commodities from European countries, where products are basically packed in different conditions. They wrap their product in different conditions. Their packaging material may be different, because in European countries the climate is comparatively cold, temperature is comparatively less, and in India we have hot and humid conditions. If same product with same packaging exporting to Indian market, because packaging is as per the European norms, as per the European conditions, and India we have hot and humid conditions, the product may be spoiled. Reason is defective packaging. Second problem of import is it leads to excessive competition. Already suppose we have 10 companies in India manufacturing a particular type of product. Or now we are importing similar product from another 10 Western countries. Yeah, 10 foreign companies, we are importing it. It means unnecessary we are creating a competition in the domestic market. And if domestic market or domestic companies, they are not able to compete with the foreign companies, foreign MNCs, they may be vanished. They may be out from the market. Same as in case of electronics goods in India. Now we have BPL, we have Uptron, we have Western TV, Onida, Jolly Star Trek. But because of the entry of LG Electronics, because of the entry of Samsung, now these Indian companies, they are no more in the market. It is very difficult for those Indian electronics company to survive in the market because of the entry of South Korean LG Electronics, Samsung, and Japanese company like Toshiba. Sometimes it also increases risk of other disease from which the country is exporting the goods. In case of corona, we all are aware about this deadly virus COVID-19. Suppose we are importing certain commodities from China, especially from that area Wuhan. If we are importing goods from those countries where a particular disease outbreak, recent example of monkeypox. So if a particular disease is outbreak in a particular market, particular country, and we are importing goods and consignment from that country, definitely that virus through those goods and services, those consignment enter in Indian market. And we have no control where it will spread out through those products, those packaging material. So sometimes import also increases the spread of diseases which are normally not happen in India, but because of that foreign consignment, those virus may enter in Indian market. Now come to the advantages of export. What are the different advantages of export? Normally we have multiple advantages of export. Exporting is one way of increasing our sales potential. Suppose we are manufacturing 100 units in domestic market every year, and the consumption in domestic market is only for 60 units per year. It means for 40 for 40 units we have no customer. It means our production is more than demand, more than domestic demand, and we are producing 100 units just to get the benefit of economies of scale. Just to reduce our cost of the production, we are manufacturing 100 units every year. But the actual demand is for 60 units in domestic market. It means for remaining 40 units, what we will do? Best option is to explore the foreign market for these 40 units, and we will export these 40 units to our neighboring countries or other countries, through which definitely we will clear our stock. We can generate foreign currency, not for us, for the country also. Okay? We will pay the taxes to the government. It means government will directly get benefited through that particular procedure, that particular export. Government will get taxes as well as foreign currency, and we can easily clear our outstanding consignment. We can easily clear our stock through that export. And it also increase sales and profit by producing more and more quantity, and we have more and more foreign options available with us. Definitely it will increase our sales as well as profit. Same example with China also. Before 80s, yeah, up to early 80s, the Indian and Chinese economies both are on the same level. Now China turned their economy from consumption based economy to export oriented economy. They start producing more and more goods, and when they produce more and more goods, definitely the cost of production will lower down. Their total cost for the commodities will lower down, and they explore the entire world, entire global market, and they export the goods and services as per the requirement of that particular market. So through that export procedure, they can easily capture the entire world, as well as they will generate profit as well as increase the sales of their products, reducing risk and balancing growth. Suppose if we are thinking only to produce for our own country and not to go beyond our geographical boundaries. Then we have a risk of obsolescence. We have different risk of competition risk is also there. But if we want to reduce the market risk, the domestic market risk, we can explore the international market. For example, as I told earlier, that Indian electronics industries, they are facing a tough or huge challenges from LG or Samsung or other Japanese and South Korean companies. But they can explore the neighboring market of India, like Bangladesh market, Sri Lanka, hai, Afghanistan, hai, Nepal. Hai. We can enter in these markets. We can export our products in these Southeast Asian countries. So we can reduce the risk and we can balance the growth of the organization. Sometimes sell excess production capacity. Normally, we are mobilized or we are motivating for export just to increase, just to sell out the excess production capacity, what we are produced. Because what we are produced not always consumed in the domestic economy, domestic market. Sometimes demand is less than supply. Supply is more. So in that case, the additional supply can be consumed in international market. Sometimes to gain the knowledge and experience, we are entering an international market, international business, just to gain the knowledge and experience of international business. Because nowadays it is very common to enter in international market, international business through export and import. So export is always considered as good for the economy. It is always considered as a beneficial for the economy, but there are certain disadvantages of export also. First one is the extra cost. If we indulge in export process, if we want to export our commodities, yeah, in another country or in another market, definitely it will increase the cost of production. Because packaging cost increases, transportation cost increases, documentation process is rather hectic and costly also. So different type of cost involves when we enter in international business or when we go for export, because we have to make a market for our product. We will definitely advertise our product, make certain publicity campaigning in that market, make buyer aware about our product through any form of publicity and advertising. So for that, certain extra cost, additional cost is required. So export is not so simple procedure. To make a market for our product in another country, we have to involve in huge advertising and promotional campaign. We have to develop certain channel of distribution in that market. We have to understand the legal formalities of that market just to avoid the future legal complications in that market. So again, sometimes we hire a legal expert also just to get the knowledge of the legal system of that country. So it involves certain extra cost. Second problem is of financial risk. Suppose we are exporting our consignment to Nigeria. Initially, the importer or buyer pay us 20% payment as a part payment or as an advance, 20% only. It means rest of the 80% payment will be done by the importer, by the buyer, after receiving the complete consignment. But before but after receiving the complete consignment, maybe certain internal problems happen in that country, change in government, change in rules or regulation in that country. The payment may be stuck. Example of Sri Lanka also. So because of the internal disturbances in the country of the buyer, because of the political disturbances in the country of the importer, because of certain legal complications in the country of the buyer or importer, we are facing financial risk also, because we have no control over the payment made by the importer, because importer is in another country. So we have no direct control over the payment from we have to receive from importer. If conditions are beyond our control because of certain disturbances or other reasons, sometime our payment may be stuck. Then export license and documentation. It is a very lengthy process, tough process, and different countries require, different market require different type of export licenses and documentation. So we have to aware about the process of export license and documentation, and it is rather difficult to get license from every country where we want to export. Suppose after detailed market analysis, we find out that in Bangladesh market, the demand for our product is very high. Bangladesh is a potential buyer for our product. We have potential importer at Bangladesh, but it is very difficult to get license for that commodity because their internal lobby sometimes make a pressure on the government not to permit any Indian organization to export that commodity to Bangladesh. Because of getting license tougher and different type of documentation required, so if exporter is not well aware about these facts, it is very difficult to export their products to that market. And most important thing is the market information. In domestic market, we can easily get all type of market information within few hours, within few minutes. But in international market, it's very difficult to get the exact or true information in a short span of time. We have more than 200 countries in the world, and different countries, every countries have different type of market, different type of geographical locations, different type of commodities requirement, different type of taste preferences, weather conditions, trade conditions, and per capita income, standard of living of people, their expenditure pattern. In every country it is different. So while we are trying to export our commodities, suppose we are trying to export our commodities to Venezuela, but in Venezuela the economy is in very bad shape, the purchasing power is very lower down, and if the prices of our commodity is comparatively high and we are not aware about the actual economic situation of Venezuela, we will not get the good customer or good buyer for our product because we have not actual picture of that particular market. So collecting market information to get the information from different market is rather difficult. There are different modes of payment in when we enter in international market, and we choose export import procedure as the first step of our entry in international business. We have to find out different modes of payment because payment is ultimate objective of the exporter to receive timely payment from the importer. Sometime in international business, such problems are normally faced by the exporter not to get the timely payment from the importer. So sometimes we demand advance payment, sometimes we demand payment against documentary bill, or sometimes we demand payment against letter of credit. As per their terms and condition between both the buyer and the seller, or between exporter and importer, they may decide the terms and condition. As per their terms and condition, they may decide the mode of payment, maybe in advance, maybe after the submission of the documents, or maybe based on the letter of credit. In India, we have EXIM Bank, Export Import Bank, for the support for the promotion of export and import procedure, because ultimate goal of any government is to enhance international trade or international business. And international trade or international business starts from export and import, mainly from export, because export is the major source of collecting foreign currency for the government, for the country, from different part of the world. So in India, for the support of Indian exporter importer, we have EXIM Bank, Export Import Bank. And Export Import Bank provides not only the financial support, but also the investment support, advisory support, other technical supports, and also provide the market information, what type of product is required in different market, what type of services is in demand in different market, all the relevant information provided by the EXIM Bank time to time to the Indian exporter and importer. So these are the basic guidelines when a person want to enter in international business. It starts from exporting and importing, and the most primitive stage is the setting up of wholly owned subsidiary. Like LG Electronics, they have their wholly owned subsidiary in India. In Greater Noida, they have their plant. So it is the first process to enter in international business. And in India, we have different organizations, different bodies to support the exporter and importer. We have DGFT, Director General Foreign Trade, the apex body who regulate the total export and import procedure, and it provide a 10-digit IED number to every registered exporter and importer. For financial support, we have EXIM Bank, we have different bodies, different government bodies, MSME bodies, okay, SSI bodies, which provide all type of support to Indian exporter and importer. So that's all from my side. Thank you all.